Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Pichardo Rosenthal, Assistant Principal Percussion of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and welcome to the very first episode of Between Two Stands. As we sit here confined to our homes and unable to rehearse with each other, we thought this could be a good opportunity to take a closer look at the individuals that make up the Detroit Symphony. Each musician joined the DSO on their own unique path and has an interesting story to tell. And because we can't be at our hall at the moment, now would be a great time to share some of these stories so that you can get to know us on a more personal level. And for the first episode, we thought it would be a good idea to start with your hosts. And here they are. Gentlemen,
everybody.
What's going on?
How's it going?
Welcome.
I'm Scott Strong. I'm the third horn of the DSO.
I'm Abe Fader. I'm assistant principal cellist.
Well, I wish we could be doing this in person, guys, but this is what we got right now.
I know it's a crazy time.
Time.
I think this is a great idea, though.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I've got some good things planned.
Well,
this is going to be great.
Yeah, I think we're going to start each episode by asking the people, which is now us, what music is on your stand right now? What are you practicing? Abe, you want to start us off?
Sure. Honestly, I just finished up my end of the cello project that we just released. The whole cello section released a third box suite. So I was practicing that for a little bit, and right now on my stand I've got the Chopin Sonata, because I've got a student who has been working on that. So, I try and review that a little bit before the lesson so I sound okay when I'm demonstrating.
Sign of a good teacher.
I guess so. What do you guys have on your stand?
Then you always tell the students, like, "Oh yeah, and I haven't played this in years. I just whipped this out."
Oh yeah, my teacher used to do that all the time, and then I learned the secret.
Scott, what about you?
All right, so on my stand, I actually have these low horn etudes by Martin Hackelman. He was the principal horn of the National Symphony, I think, for a long time, and he wrote these low horn etudes to kind of get that range of the horn going. So I've been working on those quite a bit lately.
Awesome. And as for me, believe it or not, I have some Mozart sonatas, which I like to play on my mallet instruments to just kind of keep the hands going, keep you honest. You can definitely tell if you're hitting wrong notes with Mozart, so it's a good way to kind of to keep you honest.
Are those piano sonatas?
Piano sonatas. Piano sonatas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So are you doing like 4 mallets at a time?
No, I'm just doing like each hand separate,
Okay.
Just but it's good. It's good for me, and it's not easy, but very tonal, so it works. So I thought for the first episode, instead of us all asking questions, we could all submit. There it is. We could all submit questions into this beautiful bowl here, and I could pick some out, and we could all answer them. So
it is a beautiful bowl.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love it.
Let's go for it. Let's see what we got. All right, I'm gonna pick one out. Oh, here's a good one. What composer would you like to have a beer with? Scotty?
Okay, I'll go. I submitted that question, so I actually have an answer ready to go. And it's funny, like, I think it's a very different question than, like, who's your favorite composer, for me, at least.
That's true.
Like, the person I would like to have a beer with most, maybe it would be a vodka, is Rachmaninoff.
Ooh.
Because I feel like he had a really interesting life, sort of a life in exile. He was a piano soloist for a long time. He had to leave his country and then kind of couldn't go back because of the revolution and everything. I think there'd be a lot for him to talk about. And I think he also was this sort of aristocratic figure that traveled the whole world performing and writing his music. And I would really like to have a vodka or a beer with him.
Awesome. Abe?
Well, what about you, Andres? Or Abe?
Wow. I don't know. Let's see. I would probably go with somebody like Bach. It's a little bit traditional, but as a cellist, the Bach suites are sort of the holy grail in my book. And he was just such an interesting guy. He had 20 kids, and
did he really have 20?
If you could, I
Whoa.
think so. It was something like that, right?
He was busy.
And then he also, he would do things like walk 200 miles to go like see an organ, right? Like at a church somewhere. So if he had time to even have a beer, I think he'd be, a really interesting person to talk to. And on top of that, his output of music was just incredible. The amount of music that he composed. So it'd just be interesting to see how that even all worked.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Wow, those are those are different. Well, yeah, you're right. It's very different from my favorite to like who I want to grab a beer with. Like my favorites are like Strauss and Mahler, but I don't know if they're the best people to have beers with. I don't know. I don't want to make any judgments here, but I feel like they'd be kind of a lame beer hang with them.
Have you guys ever seen the videos of Strauss conducting?
He looks like he looks miserable.
And he's just sort of like beating time and like checking his watch.
Yeah. So I don't know about him. I think maybe in terms of just like an interesting conversation, I think maybe Stravinsky for me. I think that would be an interesting guy. Just for his he just seems like a fascinating character to me that I would like to get to know more. Obviously his music's incredible and for the time, but he's always intrigued me. So I think maybe Stravinsky.
Also, that like ballet russe hang that he had in Paris in like the 19-teens, that would be an interesting thing to
That would be interesting. Exactly. There's definitely some. So I would love to get to know him a little bit better. But yeah, I like that question. All right, let's do another one.
Right.
I'm not looking. Okay.
It's fine if he does, right?
Oh, this is your other one, man.
Awesome.
What composer would you like to punch in the face?
All right, do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I think you got to start.
Okay. So he's already been mentioned on this episode once. It's actually Chopin.
Oh wow!
He wrote such great music for piano, and I feel like every other instrument. Maybe the cello stuff is different, but I feel like every other instrument is just so badly written for. That I'm so disappointed in him. I'm like, come on, it's beautiful, and then you write that for the horn parts, and it's just awful. Yeah. So I owe him a good. Even though I love listening to his stuff, it's just like. Yeah.
Along those lines, for me, I think it would have to be Bruckner, because just for the way that he writes percussion, he writes music. Good music for many other sessions, but for percussionists, it is kind of a nightmare. It's like famously just very sparse for us, so we kind of have to stay alert, not fall asleep. Stay, but and play just like
not fall asleep.
One or two notes and then be out of there. So I'd like to. Yeah, I would probably choose him to give him a nice sock in the eye.
Well, I've got a question about that though. Like, is it different for timpani than it is?
Yeah. Much more involved. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like you're waiting for that cymbal crash for like 40 minutes.
40. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's famous stories of people not making it to that. So, yeah.
Are we talking about they just lose count and just like crash early, or
that,
are we talking
fall asleep?
Fall asleep on stage, or do you off stage?
On stage, I think, man. On stage, yeah.
Wow.
40 minutes is a long time.
I mean, I can see somebody like at an opera company. Sometimes you can be out of the pit if you have a long time of not playing.
Yeah.
And so I can understand maybe falling asleep, but if you're on stage or in the pit or something like that, how can you? Sometimes it's just so loud.
Yeah, that's true. Earplugs. I got it down to a science, though, man. Check this out.
I would never suspect a thing.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, as a string player, I never have time.
No.
Right. I mean, like for horn, would you guys have time?
And just for the record, I haven't done it before.
Famously, one of our colleagues in the horn section, he's not in the Detroit section, but he has subbed with us before. You'll look over during a long period of rest or a tacit movement, which I know is a foreign concept to you, Abe. But sometimes we just don't play it. We're all moving, and you'll look over and it's just this. And then
concentration.
And it always causes such panic in the rest of the section. It's like we're supposed to play in 3 measures, and every time I don't know how he does it. I have no idea how he does it, but every time, about 2 seconds before we're supposed to come in, it's just up, and he has not missed once. I don't know how.
That is incredible.
That's amazing. Abe, what about you, man?
So composer, I would like to punch in the face. So we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, and Scott brought up a good point. So my answer to that question is Brahms, because, and with the caveat that, he famously burned scores that he didn't think were worth publishing. And I think that he is such an incredible composer that even something that was maybe not good was probably still pretty darn good, right?
Yeah. High bar.
But then Scott brought up the point that, if he had published all of this music, would we still think he's that great of a composer?
Which is it's
right.
an interesting point.
It's a valid point.
I had another thought about it, though, and it's like often composers hated the works that then became the most famous and loved. Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker is a great example. He didn't think it was good at all.
1812 Overture, he hated it, right?
Is that true?
Yeah. So he wrote. Apparently, he wrote the String Serenade right after the 1812 Overture as like a release from writing it.
Wow,
that's
crazy.
Yeah,
that's a good one, man. That's a good one. Yeah, like that's frustrating that like we could have had a lot more Brahms music.
I bet Brahms got into some tussles anyway, like the Hedgehog.
He seemed like a brute.
Yeah.
All right. Here, we're gonna go in the bowl again. What is the funniest thing to happen to you on stage? Love that.
Are we living? This was was this my question, right?
I think I threw one in there similar. So
okay. Are we limiting this just to the DSO, or are we doing?
Let's say ever.
Okay.
Because that
auditions included, or just orchestra performance?
Anything, man. Anything.
On stage.
Okay.
How about this? I'll start off. Okay. First of all, there are many things that happen to me that are funny. Like I feel like, especially in the percussion section, there's funnier things can happen. There's a lot more precarious instruments set up where if you turn the wrong way, you can knock something over. If you play the wrong instrument, there's just a large margin of error. But just from one at the top of my head that comes to mind, we were playing, this is in Colorado, I was playing at a summer festival, and we were playing Sorcerer's Apprentice. And there's a part where, I was playing the triangle part, of course, and by the way, the floors of this auditorium are actually cement. It's like kind of like an outdoor type thing. And so we're playing in a kind of a delicate part, really beautiful part, where the triangle plays on every note, and I pick up the triangle, and the triangle hangs by a couple strings, and one of the strings was broken already, and of course, during this time, I'm about to play, and the string breaks, and I remember seeing it in slow motion just drop, and it was like nothing I could do, and it just hits the floor and just like clank, 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 clank. I like bounced a million times, and I was mortified. But like the rest of the section was hysterical, so it made it work. It was a good story, but Yeah, that was just one of the many foibles that happen in the percussion section to me. Try to avoid that.
Wow.
I always remember to have 2 strings on the triangle now, just in case. What about you guys?
Scott, do you want to go next, or should I?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
right.
I'll think a little bit longer.
So, I guess for me, I would have to say. So we were doing the. Was it, which violin concerto was it? Sibelius, I think. And anyway, we're doing this violin concerto, and it's the live stream that's, live to the world on, dso.org. Nice plug there.
Yeah.
And my bow exploded in the middle of the first movement. And so the bow hair, right? So if you know what the bow looks like, there's a little knot that is tied at the tip of the bow so that it and a wedge put in so that it holds. And there can be a lot of pressure on the bow hairs. So we're playing, and all the hair just exploded, and a bunch of it got caught like in my fine tuners, and I was in the middle of trying to play something, and it caught and just made this horrendous sound. So I spent the rest of the movement just like sort of airbowing.
Oh man.
And just pretending like I was playing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at Way.
And you're at the front. You can't get away with anything.
Yeah, I can't get away. So ultimately, it was really embarrassing because it was my first year in the orchestra. So I was all worried anyway. And so finally, we just, at the end of the movement, one of the section members passed up their bow. And I played the rest of the piece, and they just sat there and listened.
Nice.
And then apparently, fortunately for me, it wasn't that noticeable on the live stream. A couple people went back to look at it to see if they could see it, and it wasn't that obvious. So I got lucky.
Yeah.
There, but
they use the faraway shots.
You were playing your heart out. That's what happens.
Absolutely.
That's a good sign, in my opinion.
Yeah. So
that is the advantage that Scott and I have, though, is we're further back in the orchestra, so we can kind of get away with a little more than you can.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't hide. Whenever something like that happens to me, my face turns really, really red. It's just like
me too.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah. Scott, what about you, man?
So I was thinking about this time. I was playing this piece. I don't even remember what it was. It was by Debussy, and I was playing Principal on it. And I know you guys have heard the story before, but I'm going to say it again anyway. I was playing Principal on it, and I had some solos coming up, but there wasn't a lot of rest in this piece, and I had to turn a page, and then I found like 2 measures rest, which is not that much time. And I needed to empty water that collects in the horn as you play from this slide here. So I have to pull that out, and then I place it. Because I have to turn the page immediately, I placed the slide on my music stand, and I turned the page, placed the slide down because I have to get ready to play the next entrance without that slide in place. Which
a lot going on.
It's like okay. My mind starts to do this juggling act where I'm looking ahead, like what alternate fingerings can I use so that I don't have to make that happen. And the best part is later I find out that my second horn player, Joanna Yarbrough, the second horn of the DSO, was trying to cover for me the entire. She was looking ahead too, like what solos am I going to have to play because this idiot took his slide out and can't put it back in.
Hey, that's good teamwork, man. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. We look out for each other in the horn section.
That's very cool. Well, dudes, it's been awesome. I think this is about all the time we have, but I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be really fun, and I'm so glad you guys are joining me for it, and it's going to be fun to get to know some of the other members of the orchestra. It's going to be great.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'll see you guys real soon, all right?
All right.
Before we go, I wanted to give a shout out to the first responders, essential workers, and anyone on the front lines of this epidemic. Thank you for everything you do. And thanks for everyone else who is staying at home and doing their part. On the next episode of Between Two Stands, I'm really looking forward to interviewing principal cellist Wei Yu. Also, don't forget to tune in to the following DSO webcasts. On Thursday, May 7th at 7 p.m., we are playing William Grant Still's Symphony No. 1 and Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 3. On Friday, May 8th at 2 p.m., as part of our educational concert series, we are broadcasting the music of John Williams. And on Sunday, May 10th at 3 p.m., we are showing Turandot with our amazing new music director, Yader Binyamini. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you next time.